Well, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm your host, Jim Tabor, along with Drs. Jim and Janine Fox of Doctor's Nutrition, located on Callan-Lorraine Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. We do this every Monday morning. If you're a first-time viewer, it is a live call-in show. And what we do is we talk about some particular subject and invite you to call in and ask questions. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open to you, and you just pass the question along to our producer, and they will pass it along to us. Now, this show is all about trying to help you live a healthier lifestyle, no matter what it is, whether it's internally, externally, whatever. And this morning, we're going to continue our series on anti-aging, talking about collagen. What is collagen?
Well, it's the glue that holds us together, basically. I mean, essentially, collagen is that glue. I mean, it truly is. It's a type of protein, if you will, that just kind of binds everything together. And so it literally described as the glue that holds us together. And when it starts breaking down, that's when you start having things like wrinkles and saggy skin and blah, blah, blah. You know, so all the outward signs of aging. But there's also inward signs that are going on if that's happening as well, too.
Right, it's just what you see on the skin.
Right.
Because the skin, people don't realize, skin is so important, not just for appearances. It's very important for the immune system. It makes of course, your vitamin D is produced.
Well, they say it's the largest organ
of
our body.
Largest organ in our body, right?
Taking care of your skin is not just about looking good. It's about being healthy internally.
Yeah.
And people don't think about it that way as an organ. People don't think it is an organ.
Right.
But it is.
Because it is external.
It's an organ system,
taking
right?
care of the skin, keeping collagen from breaking down, all that is part of it.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of things you can do.
So how soon do we start developing this? I mean, is this developing in the womb?
When the little ovum and the other guy get together,
Bam,
it starts.
right
I mean, as we start dividing in cells, I don't know, when it gets about 8 or 10 or 12 cells, we start making things like the glue, the collagens and stuff that has to hold us together.
Whenever you're
in the embryo.
In the embryo. So my next question would be then, how important is the mother's diet to have strong collagen development for that baby?
Very. You know, you look at if you start looking at that, look at stuff like the fetal alcohol syndrome. You know, the babies that are born to mothers that are alcoholics and what they know, and it's not pretty, and it's because the mother wasn't nourished like she should be. I mean, that's the most important thing. And you know, research even shows that it's really better for mom if she's going to get pregnant after a delivery, that she gives in her body enough time to actually recover nutritionally, so that that second child is not starting out at a deficit. Because we see that a lot of people have babies, you know, like boom, 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 and you really want to give your body time. The female wants to give her body time to actually recover before the second baby.
And of course, you know, the importance too of maintaining healthy if the mother's breastfeeding.
Well, that's the best for the baby.
Well, yeah,
Right.
and you definitely got to keep up your nutrients, because there's no doubt nutrient depletion is huge in pregnancy and breastfeeding.
Exactly.
It depletes a lot from the mom.
Yeah.
So that's just a big part of it, to keep that up. But like I said, the collagen is just so important, and that, you know, we see a lot of people with a lack of protein, and protein makes a big difference in the collagen as well. And so protein deficiency causes a lot of problems, and it even causes weight gain. That's probably the thing that will make people not want protein deficiency more, is because they do gain weight. And people would think, well, how do you gain weight if you're not getting enough? Well, you do. It makes a big difference in fluid balance. It'll make you swell when you don't have enough. So there's a lot of things you can do for that. But back to the skin, because the skin is what we're talking about, the anti-aging of the skin, and what you can do to actually keep your skin healthy. Now, big thing with skin is hydration. Definitely water. Water. I mean, we tell people all the time, you got to keep hydrated. And then you have to keep your good oils in your body to actually help with the skin too, to keep from getting dry. People don't realize how much good fat is essential for skin health as well.
Well, you know, since 1974, the government, and you know, in all their infinite wisdom, has been telling us to eat low fat, no fat, and that's the problem. I mean, you know, we got 40, 50 years of people eating low fat and being programmed to not getting the fats that they need, and then they wonder why they age so fast, because you don't have those fats. It affects the brain, We talked about that before, but it also affects the skin. I mean, without certain, especially some of the omega-3s, which are a little harder to get in the diet, and even some of the good omega-6s, you know, and omega-9s, like for instance in olive oil and so on. You know, very, very important.
All right. I have a question. I have thyroid cancer, and I was told
B17.
B17 can help with the cancerous cells. Is this true?
There's a lot of controversy on Laetrile, which is actually B17. That is what it is, and there is some research, but there's a lot that goes into that, and I wouldn't rely on just that.
No.
I would not have cancer and just think I'm going to take a little Laetrile and it's going to go away.
No.
So I would not rely on that treatment alone to actually help.
Yeah.
All right.
There's too many things out there.
Yeah, there's
help. Yeah.
All right.
Really good thing.
8960713 or 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open. If you have a question regarding collagen, or just like this other caller regarding the B17, you have a question about any other thing regarding your health.
Yeah, you know, I think when she talks about hydration, I think that's one of the biggies that we see constantly. But between the two, the biggest problems that we see, and it's going to affect how you look. I mean, there's no doubt about it, how you feel too. Hydration and getting enough protein. Because we see, you know, so many people that don't get adequate protein. They just don't eat it. Well, you know, I eat it once a week or twice a week. Really? I mean, this is something we have to have on a daily basis. You have to have those amino acids. That's the part of the building blocks that so we can repair things like skin, et cetera. And we got to have it.
Yeah, and when you get some of the women that come in that are in their 90s and they look really good and they've done, you know, you say, what did you do? Now, a lot of them have taken their nutrients.
Right.
But they all say they drink a lot of water. And a lot of them talk about their positive attitude.
Yeah.
Because stress makes a big difference too in aging.
Yeah.
People don't realize what stress does to you, and when you actually increase those stress hormones, makes a big difference in
And
aging.
staying out of the sun.
And the way your skin looks. Now you do need some sun.
Right.
Because
But
people
those who get
have-
out there and bake all the time.
Right.
Oh,
you
no,
don't,
no,
you
no,
don't want to
don't do
just
that.
go and oil up and lay in the, yeah, you're right about that. But people stay inside too much. You need to get out. We were made to get outside. If you take the right nutrients and you take a lot of the antioxidants that we'll talk about when you come back, it protects the skin from the sun.
Yeah.
And so you know, we need sunlight. Sunlight's part of life. Yeah. So,
I wish I could share a picture. I have a picture of my daughter on my phone, and everybody that looks at that picture thinks that she's in her 20s.
yeah, there's no doubt that
And she's 44 years old.
Yeah.
no doubt not getting burnt constantly makes a big difference.
Yeah, she
And
doesn't
not
get out in the
just staying
sun.
out-
She takes very good care of herself
Yeah.
Yep.
and drinks a lot of water.
Water does make a difference.
It's huge.
Yep.
Yep,
It's really
very,
huge.
very big. So that's
Yeah.
some of the things that you need to do. So anyway, our phone lines are open, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. It's our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm your host, Jim Tabor, along with Dr. Jim and Janine Fox. And we're talking about collagen this morning, the importance of it in our makeup, body, whatever. You know, I know there's people that think, well, I'll go get collagen injections.
Well, that is not our
I know,
area, and we
I know.
are not going to talk about that.
Okay.
Because it is not what we do.
No.
We're actually talking about anti-aging for the skin.
Right.
Not just collagen.
Yeah.
Because we want to talk about things that you can do just to help the skin health in general. And one of the big things is antioxidants. I mean, there is huge amounts of research on antioxidants.
You know, everything from, you know, and we've mentioned in the past things like resveratrol,
Right.
and et cetera, and those are great antioxidants.
Actually, turmeric, resveratrol, alpha lipoic acid, glutathione, you know, even the green tea extracts, the ECGC from green tea, and a lot of your nutrients as well. Not just, you know, one of the big things that you want to talk about is vitamin C. Vitamin C is essential for collagen in the skin naturally. Without taking collagen, it actually is one of the things your body has to have to actually build collagen. And we use something called liposomal C, which is way more absorbable than your normal vitamin C. We even have people that come in that's taken blood thinners that everybody's seen bruises everywhere because your skin gets real fragile. And on those people, regular vitamin C does not seem to help. But when we use liposomal C, huge difference.
Big.
And the difference is absorption. You know, your best vitamin C on the market is probably 19% absorbable, to where when you go to a liposomal C, it's 93% absorbable.
Oh, wow.
So it's almost
Big
like
difference.
it's
Big
almost like
difference.
IV and
Yeah.
vitamin C, and it doesn't cause the stomach upset and the diarrhea like the other C.
A lot of
And the
vitamin
reason
C.
why it does that is you don't absorb it. and so it dumps it in the bowels.
Yeah.
And that's when it actually causes diarrhea if you get too much vitamin C. So the liposomal C is unbelievable for the skin, for the collagen, and I mean, it helps the immune system too, so it's good for overall health.
Too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. When we talk about the skin and making collagen, vitamin C's, our body makes collagen. I mean, it's been doing that since you were a bunch of cells, and so it's something that our body does normally. But it has to have that vitamin C, and it makes something called hyaluronic acid, and hyaluronic acid is the precursor directly to the proteins that make up the collagen. So collagen is really important for not just for the skin, but here's the thing about it. When you look at the person's skin, you're also kind of getting a look at what's going on in their body. If their skin looks healthy, most likely they're probably healthy. Yeah. If not, they're probably not.
Right.
And that's one of the problems you see a lot. We see a lot of this especially as people age.
Now we do get a lot of questions about collagen and like what collagens. We have a few different collagens at our office. We have one called Arthred that even though it's more for arthritis, it's great for the skin and hair. All collagen is good for the hair and the skin and the nails and stuff like that. And then we have a multi-collagen, and then we have one called a whole body collagen, which is patented. There's 3 different patented collagens, and one is specifically for skin, and one of them is specifically for bone density, and another one specifically for joints. So it's ones that have had patents for their research, and so it's called whole body collagen. So we have a lot of different choices when it comes to collagen. All the collagen that we have is tasteless. I mean, everybody's like, ooh, I don't like powders, I don't like the way they taste.
And a friend of mine used to take the Arthred and just mixes it in with the coffee.
Yeah, some people can mix it with coffee.
We got quite a few of them that do that.
You can mix it with water. I mean, any of the collagens, you just have to stir.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't stir it, it turns into a little blob. It does. So I always say just stir. Yeah. So, there's a lot of different choices when it comes to collagen.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody called in. What are the benefits of sea moss, if any?
Well, I mean, it's got some pretty good antioxidants in it. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I've seen on it as far as the data coming out.
Sea moss has had some good research that I've seen. It's just not one that we've used a lot over the years. We've tried it a few. We tend to use something and we see what changes lab work. We see what makes the biggest difference in people, and then that's what we tend to do more of. Just like anything, what you actually get good results with is what you're going to use more of. Right. And like I said, there's a lot of good antioxidants out there. CoQ10 is another one. CoQ10, carnitine. Carnitine's a big difference in the skin. You'll always see it with anti-aging products. So there's so many things you can do, and I mean, zinc and copper. Your minerals, I mean, those make a big difference in skin, especially the elasticity. Copper makes a big difference in elasticity of the skin. So there's so many things you can do, but definitely watching what you eat.
That was going to be my next question.
Not
about
overeating
your diet.
sugar. Yeah.
Diet is ultimately, I follow along with a guy at Harvard. His name's David Sinclair, and Dr. Sinclair, he's done mountains of research on things like anti-aging and so on. He's really big into anti-aging. The older he says the older he gets, the more he likes the anti-aging thing. So he's really big into it. And we're talking about some research keeps up with it from all over the world. So he's kind of a good filter. And the one thing that he says, and in an interview that not too long ago, the interviewer was asking him questions about everything going, that was going on, like sea moss or whatever. And he said the most important thing that you can do is your diet. And he said, you want to eat as much fresh food as you possibly can, not things that are
not packaged
processed foods. He's completely away from that. He won't touch it, so to speak. He eats he pushes things like the darker chocolates, a little bit of that because it's got some great research on it. Fantastic antioxidants and so on. Tea, he says, drink as much tea as you possibly can, and keep it going.
And we're not talking about sweet tea.
No. You have to leave the sugar off. Yeah.
Sugar increases.
You do live down south, so
I understand.
Says, I drink sweet tea all the time.
Sugar itself increases glycation.
Yes.
And glycation damages cells. So when you really start talking about anti-aging, you got to limit the damage to the cells and do stuff to help the damage. Dr. Sinclair, the one he was talking about, also is real big on something called NMN and resveratrol together. So those
That's two that he
things
takes
that
constantly.
that actually he pushes a lot because they definitely play a role in helping the mitochondria and helping with the aging.
Yeah, the NMN is something that
Yeah.
he's kind of pioneered, and they've done some tremendous work in some of the labs around the country. But it's a nicotinamide mononucleotide, and it's back to the mitochondria that we were talking about. This is the direct precursor to helping us make
And we
that
do
ATP.
have that at the store.
Right,
So
right.
we do have the NMN there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. We have another question in the can that we'll answer that whenever we come back from our break. And we'll also have this week's special. And welcome back. It's our final segment this morning, so if you have any questions, you can call in. We're talking about the skin and how important it is to take good care of it. Question, what is turmeric used for, and what are the benefits?
Well, it's a good anti-inflammatory. That's probably one of its biggest proponents is it being a great anti-inflammatory. And keeping down inflammation, as we've talked about time and time again on the shows, chronic inflammation is the cause of just about every disease you can think of. I mean, they even lump it there. So that's one of its biggies.
Right. It's also an antioxidant.
Oh, great antioxidant.
It's a great antioxidant. And what is it? It's actually a spice. And the active ingredient is curcumin. So when you hear the word curcumin, that is from turmeric.
Yes.
So it really, we've always used a lot of that, and you see it in a lot of anti-aging products. And it's, like I said, good for inflammation. Good. It even has some antiviral properties. I mean, they're definitely,
does.
they show some, it has a lot of really good properties, and it's very beneficial. So
Okay.
very beneficial turmeric.
All right. Let's go ahead and show you what this week's special is.
Yeah, alpha lipoic acid. And a lot of people say, well, what is alpha lipoic acid? It's an antioxidant, but it's kind of a tricky little guy. And one end of him is fat soluble, the other end of it is water soluble. So it is a potent antioxidant in that it can either handle the fat soluble stuff or the water soluble. So, and nothing else does that. I mean, it's the only one that does that.
And all your books written on wrinkles is always going to mention alpha lipoic acid.
Yeah.
Now, it's also a precursor to glutathione,
Yes.
which is actually produced in the body. And if you have the alpha lipoic acid and the N-acetylcysteine, you can actually make glutathione.
Right.
And so that's another big, that's the body's main defense against free radicals.
Right.
So to keep free radical damage down definitely helps your skin. So the alpha lipoic is just good for so many things. It also good for blood sugar, by the way. It's used in a lot of diabetics and things like that because it does help the damage done by sugar, but at the same time, it helps lower blood sugar. So it's beneficial all the way around.
You know, you talked about blood sugar, and she mentioned a little bit ago, she mentioned
Yep.
something called glycation. And there's a really kind of interesting name that you need to understand. It's called AGE. And it's not that we age, advanced glycation in products.
Yeah.
And those AGEs, as their term,
Yeah, they call it ages. Yeah.
and
They age you.
They literally do age you. And it's glycation comes from sugar. In other words, if you bake a cake and it turns nice and brown, that's glycation.
That's what the sun, if you're out way too much,
Yeah,
that's what it
that's
does.
glycation.
Actually.
Turns you nice and brown.
Right.
Yeah.
But yet
So,
it damages the
You know,
cell.
we can either glycate
Right.
at 350 degrees for 35 minutes or so, or we can just at 98.7 or 6 and
Yeah.
do that for a long period of time. Eventually, you'll get the same result.
Yeah.
Glycation.
So with the skin, we've talked about hydration.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely have to have that. You have to have your vitamins, minerals. That makes a big difference. You want your antioxidants.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a giant difference. You want to put your fat internally to actually help with the skin. But on the outside, you also want to grease up.
Yes.
You do. You want to keep the skin hydrated from the outside.
Yeah.
A few months ago, we had went out of town, and I went to a little boutique and found this lotion that I loved. It was made from honey. Actually, honey was in it. So, and we started using it. It keeps your skin moist and shiny, and so we now do have it at the store. So we have the whole line, and it's all honey-based moisturizer.
All natural stuff. It's really
And the
cool.
guy started by doing beehives.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how he started, is he was
Yeah.
did beehives. And so we do have those lotions, and they are so good because you do have to also, you got to grease from the inside, you got to grease from the outside. There's so many things that, like I said, you can do for the skin. And we even have, and we've mentioned it before and had shows on it, our red light therapy.
Yeah.
It's actually also very beneficial for the skin. It's been shown to help with wrinkles and skin aging and help the mitochondria. So it does a lot of really good things also for aging and for the skin. So there's a lot of things you can do for the skin.
Actually, the best anti-aging is basically just staying healthy. That's
Exactly.
what it boils down to is, okay, if you want to slow down this aging process, then we got to stay really healthy. And things like sugar that cause that glycation, you know.
And limit stress, like we talked about too. I mean, that's
That's a
hard.
hard
That's
one.
hard to do.
That's
It
tough.
is. It's
In
hard to
today's
do.
world, yeah, it is
Yeah,
really hard
It
to
is.
do.
tough.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But we do. I mean, think about when you see somebody that's went through a lot of stress, how bad they look. And then watch what bad habits you have too, like smoking. There's nothing worse for the skin and wrinkles than smoking. Smoking damages the cells. And it actually, each cigarette, I think years ago there was a study that said each cigarette will decrease 100 milligrams of vitamin C.
Takes that much to kind of
Take that
offset
much,
it.
yeah, to make offset it. And
Wow.
so it really makes a difference in your antioxidants. And then when you lose the antioxidants, you don't protect the skin. Then you start breaking down collagen. Then you start getting a lot of wrinkles. So, and like I said, the skin is not just about appearance. It's also about the immune system.
Right.
Immune system. We were just listening to a researcher recently, a podcast that was on how the skin is what people should pay attention to first for the immune system.
Right.
That their skin is kind of fights off things.
Yeah. Because you think about it, if you get a cut or something takes your skin, you know, an abrasion that takes away the top layer of skin, one of the first things that's going to happen if you're not careful is an infection, because
Right.
there's nothing there to protect you from whatever's outside. Because
Right.
there's stuff all over the place. You have bacteria, viruses, and everything all over us. And so it's a matter of if it can get
Yeah,
through
you
that
don't-
skin.
You don't think about
Boom.
protecting the skin
Right.
as being one of the biggest things for your immune system.
Right.
So yes, part of it is not having wrinkles, and you know everybody wants to look better, but you also want to feel better, and you want to keep your immune system strong. So that's
Right.
why you take. They were even talking about moisturizing the skin to keep the immune system up.
Yeah.
Because if
Right.
the skin dries out, it affects its ability to.
Well,
fight
when it
things
dries
off.
out, it starts cracking and things
Yeah.
can
Yep.
get through those cracks.
So yeah, kind of interesting.
So, you know, it is good to use a good moisturizer.
It is.
Whenever, you know, after you
Definitely.
shower, something like that. So,
But be very cautious on those moisturizers.
I was going to ask you,
With the
is there some
chemicals.
particular
Chemicals?
Yes.
particular
Yeah,
chemical?
those are
Yeah,
the
a lot of But the great place to go for looking for things like that is a place called Environmental Working Group, or EWG.org. That's
It'll
the,
talk about things like moisturizers and things. Also, it talks about sunscreens and how
Sunscreens.
dangerous most sunscreens out there are.
Really?
Now,
Some of the
not to
chemicals
say none of the zinc oxide's really the only thing you want. The chemicals that's in sunscreen has been shown to make skin cancer.
Yeah.
So there's some of them out there that aren't good, but that if you go to that website, they'll tell you the ones
And
that
what was the
are
website again?
EWG.org.
.org. Yeah.
Right.
No, ewg.org.
Right.
Environmental Working Group.
Environmental Working Group. And they,
Okay.
they've got, you know, all sorts of, and they'll tell you, they've got,
But the,
it's a
the
fire-
phthalates
huge.
and the parabens
Right.
and things like that you don't want. You
Right.
don't want them in lotions. You don't want them in your shampoo. You don't
Right.
want them in your soaps. And they're in a
It's,
lot
it's
of
like when they
things.
tell you when you pick out a deodorant, you know, make sure
Yeah.
it doesn't have aluminum in
Yeah,
it.
so
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to
Yeah,
look for
aluminum
when you're putting on
chloride.
stuff externally, because again, it affects the skin.
Right.
Yep.
Because your skin's going to absorb it.
Yeah.
Yep. It does. It can absorb things like that. And that's not good for us, especially
Okay.
some of those chemicals in some of these things. It's
Well,
really
next Monday, we're going to wrap up our conversation,
Anti-aging.
anti-aging, with a special pre-recorded show.
Yep. And we're going to talk about the mitochondria in specifics about mitochondria,
Right.
because it is what affects aging.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it'll be real, and it's kind of, the mitochondria just kind of ties all this together. And keeping that mitochondria functioning well is the key to health and longevity.
And
No
energy.
doubt. And energy.
Because
Well, yeah.
the mitochondria is what produces energy in the cells.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so join us tomorrow, next Monday morning, for a special pre-recorded live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. Well, it won't be live, it'll be pre-recorded. So we will see you next Monday. Have a great week.
For more information on highlighting your business and services on Healthy Living South Mississippi, contact Jim Tabor at 896-1313.